Hi guys. So I wanted to show you a demonstration of how to complete a plot diagram. So this is for the Literary Elements Digital Interactive Notebook, and it happens to be on page 10, and that was my dog shaking. So if you'll notice on page 10, you have the pink line represents the actual plot diagram, much like I would draw on the board in our regular classroom. And the blue boxes are all elements of the plot or segments of the plot. And the red boxes are other literary elements that happen in the short story. So I went ahead and just did an example with Jack and the Beanstalk, which I realized I haven't read in a long time, and so you might get a chuckle out of some of my memory lapses, but here we go. So the exposition, if you remember, is the background, the part of the story that if it doesn't go move along fast enough, you might say, oh, I couldn't get into that story. So that's where you typically find out about your character and what's kind of driving them. So in this case, the exposition is Jack's about 10 years old. He lived with his mom and they were very poor. Now notice I have put a text box in each of the blue or red boxes, and you can make those, my goodness, as big or as little as you need to. I also wrote click to type here really, really tiny so that you could understand that you were supposed to type there and that these are interactive. But of course, I can't see it if it's that small. So you need to make your answers or what you complete much bigger. And so that's what I did here. My input, my goodness, is much bigger. And a different color, that kind of helps. Doesn't really matter. So then the rising action, remember, is that's where the story really starts to get going. Like, what is happening? What's going on? Why do we care what's happening in this story? And you'll notice that that coincides with the conflict, because without conflict, there is no story. And the conflict usually happens with the rising action. That's what keeps us reading. So in this case, Jack went to sell, I think it was a cow. And he was really upset about selling the cow, which is a conflict. He didn't want to sell the cow, if I remember correctly. And on his way, he meets a man who offers him magic beans in exchange for the cow, which sounded like a great idea to him. However, his mom didn't like it, so that's conflict. Jack's mom was angry that he didn't do what he was told to do with the cow, so that's conflict. More in the rising action is that Jack throws the beans outside, or maybe his mom does. But anyways, it's not what was supposed to happen with the beans. And in the morning, there's a huge beanstalk, and Jack climbs the beanstalk. In addition, Jack runs into the giant and has some issues, and the whole fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, I think. Anyways. And one of the conflicts is that Jack does confront the giant. And so you can see that sometimes conflict is part of the rising action, and you can write it twice or not. Also, I'm sure you've noticed I am using abbreviations, which you are totally able to do. This is a graphic organizer, not a short answer response. Finally, we have the climax. Jack tricks the giant and gets the riches. And the falling action, Jack goes home and talks to his mom. And then finally the resolution, which you will probably not be able to write on many of your plot diagrams because you're reading much more advanced content. But in a children's story, often the resolution is that everybody lives happily ever after. I also put the setting, which was a rural area, very poor, and in the past. Don't know when it was. But I know that it wasn't now. My goodness. Anyway, so I hope that helps, guys, and let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll talk soon. Bye.